are chilling on a Wednesday. Coach Saban talking to reporters this evening. Final presser before your Crimson Tide takes on Louisiana Monroe this weekend, Saturday, Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. But right now, you know what time it is, baby. You know what time it is. You're rocking and rolling, hottest show on the streets, feeding you your Crimson Tide. Football news, notes, information, entertainment, that being in my own words with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Proud to have all of you checking us out this evening. Go ahead right now as we're bringing you the show from the Magic City of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button right now. Smash subscribe. Don't let the moment pass you by. Get your friends to do it, family members, casual Bama fans, diehard Bama fans, consumers of college football to hit that subscribe button, because if you like the content, they will also. Don't forget to leave a like, run those likes up, give us that thumbs up right there, make us your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Turn all of those post notifications on, hit that little bell so that way you miss nothing when it comes to the Crimson Tide. Check us out also on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you the show. And we got a good one today. Got a good one. Alabama taking on Louisiana Monroe this weekend. And while no one really wants to talk about UL Monroe, the point of the conversation is how can Alabama get better, right, after a narrow, ugly win over Texas? I get it. A win's a win. You go down to a hostile environment, to a team, against a team coached by Steve Sarkisian, and you got the win. And the win was good. Don't get me wrong. The win was good. But when it's a win where a lot of things went wrong, a lot of things went bad, and you still found a way to win, you praise the toughness, you praise the fight, you praise the determination, but there are also concerns of, okay, what do we got to clean up? What do we got to fix? How can we use this to make Alabama better, especially before the SEC gauntlet starting off with Arkansas on October 1st comes into play here? So I'm going to get into that, and we want to hear from you tonight, the Bama fans, the passionate group right here, you guys. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. Number 2, call in to let your voice be made known on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. The daily Super Chat Go, $75. Daily Super Chat Go. Appreciate the support there from all of you. But John, we're going to dive into right now topic number 1 of the conversation, and that goes to the Alabama fan base still looking like we're not sold on the coordinators. We're just not sold on Bill O'Brien and Pete Golding. We're just not. We're not sold on Bill O'Brien. We're not sold on Pete Golding. The scheme is not what it needs to be. The strategy is not what it needs to be. The dominance is not where it needs to be. The elite level of playing winning football is not where it needs to be. And it's been going on now for its second year with both of these two together here at the University of Alabama. And just breaking these two down one at a time here, starting this thing off with Bill O'Brien. You have to ask yourself the question, is OB wasting Bryce Young? Is Bill O'Brien wasting the best quarterback to ever come through this program? Because people talk about, for the first time, normally Bama has all the weapons around the quarterback, just not the elite level quarterback, and now it's the other way around. Bama finally has the quarterback it's always wanted, but the playmakers don't necessarily match the quarterback. I disagree with that statement because of the fact that, yes, Jermaine Burton may not be an elite level speedster, but he's got talent. I mean, Trayshawn Holden may not be an elite level speedster, but he's got size, he's got physicality, he's got talent. I mean, Kobe Prentice runs a 4.3 40. He's got speed. Isaiah Bond's got speed. Kendrick Law Aaron Anderson, though he's hurt, Shaz Preston, all these guys have got talent. Cameron Latu is highly talented. You got talent all over this roster in terms of guys around the quarterback. It's the play calling in question is not putting these guys in situations where they can confidently be successful. And I go back and I say this. Steve Sarkisian had Quinn Ewers last week. He had Quinn Ewers looking more of a Heisman contender than what Bill O'Brien had Bryce Young. You give Bryce Young Steve Sarkisian. Bryce Young puts up some unholy, some insane numbers. Bama drops 60 plus on Texas. If this is Steve Sarkisian as the offensive coordinator. I'm just calling a spade. With Steve Sarkisian, this Alabama offense is a full-blown Maserati. Versus with Bill O'Brien, this Alabama offense is a 2001 Honda Civic. And I'm not putting down Hondas, like they're good cars. But there's a complete difference between a full-blown Maserati and a Honda Civic. There's a complete difference right there. And just to me here, you look at, Alabama, guys like, Blake Sims, Jacob Coker, Tua Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, they had success because of Steve Sarkisian, because of Lane Kiffin, right? They had success because of those guys scripting well, scheming well, game playing well, game calling well, because they're well organized, well detailed, well thought out, well processed. You won those matchups. Those guys at quarterback were successful because of Sarkisian, because of Lane Kiffin. We did this because of what you added to what was already there. Versus Bill O'Brien, Bryce Young won the Heisman in spite of Bill O'Brien. That's two different things. That's two different sets of context. Bryce Young won the Heisman in spite of Bill O'Brien. Bryce Young guided Alabama to an SEC championship in spite of Bill O'Brien. That means even through your deficiencies, we still were able to get to what we wanted to get to and nearly win a national championship. So for Bill O'Brien, and fans have been waiting for more screens to the tight ends, screens to the running backs, screens to the wide receivers, jet sweeps, pop passes, little things to get the guys working in space, and that's not been happening with Bill O'Brien as the offensive coordinator. So you have to wonder, is he wasting the best quarterback of the Nick Saban era at Alabama? It's definitely a question. You definitely got to ask that question here when you look at what we've seen with the Lane Kiffins, what we've seen with the Steve Sarkisians, and now with Bill O'Brien. You have to ask that question. Is the best quarterback of the Nick Saban era getting absolutely wasted by OB here? Now, when you look at Pete Golding here, he not elite. He's not a Kirby Smart. He's not a Jeremy Pruitt. And, his fifth season, very interesting. We saw in the offseason, Pete Golding hit with the DUI. And, of course, was remorseful for it, was apologetic for it. That's swept under the rug. That's letting bygones be bygones there. But against Texas, the defense didn't have its greatest performance either. 15 penalties, that was awful. Defensive backs got burned left, right, up the middle, down the hallway. Defense got absolutely torched. And then, behind Will Anderson and Dallas Turner, nobody can finish the play, and half the time the guys look lost out there on the field. But the one good thing in all of this that you could say about Pete Golding would be he gave up one touchdown to Steve Sarkisian. Should have been two, because Xavier Worthy dropped a for sure touchdown off the arm of Quinn Ewers, but he dropped the touchdown, so you can't count that one. So Pete Golding gave up one touchdown to Steve Sarkisian. He gave up one touchdown to the person that we would debate is the finest, most outstanding, most prepared, most talented, most detail-oriented, most strategizing, elite offensive play caller in one Steve Sarkisian, who wanted to prove to Coach Saban that he could hang toe-to-toe with him in a matchup of this magnitude. So Pete Golding the defense gives up one touchdown, but I thought what was crazy was, rarely do I watch the Feinbaum show, but it happened, John, yesterday, where there was a caller who called into the Feinbaum show just ripping O'Brien and Pete Golding, calling them the worst coordinators in the history of Alabama under Coach Saban. And then he went in on Pete Golding. This caller went absolutely in on Coach Golding to the point where Pete's dad, Mr. Skip Golding, has to call in, and Skip went in and ripping the caller, and it was a mess. It was an absolute mess, and wow. I mean, wow. It just went in there on the caller, did Pete's pops there. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. So Pete Golding defense didn't look its absolute best against Texas. Guys looked lost out there at times on the field. 15 penalties. You couldn't get pressure to Quinn Ewers. Defensive backs were getting burnt like toast out there without the jam. It was rough. It was rough. But at the least, in terms of Golding, only gave up one touchdown. So, I mean, for you as fans, it's almost like taking the lesser of two evils here. You can't stand both. In a perfect world, you would like to have both gone. But if you had to take the lesser of two evils, if you had to do it, if you were stuck on an island, right, and you had to take Pete Golding or Bill O'Brien with you, which one would you take? If you were stuck on the Bermuda Triangle and you had to take one of these two with you, would you take Pete Golding or would you take Bill O'Brien? To me, I would have to take Petey. I would just have to take Petey because O'Brien, nah. O'Brien, I really hope Nebraska ain't playing around and they're really considering Bill O'Brien. I really hope Nebraska ain't playing around because we saw last offseason where, folks were like, I want O'Brien. We'll take him. We'll give him a little visit. And nobody in the NFL or college football wanted any parts of Bill O'Brien. And I could see where that would be something. I could see why, nobody really wanted to come take Bill O'Brien off of Coach Saban's hands. But hopefully, this time around, we could see something different. But fans, I mean, for you, lesser of two evils. Bill O'Brien, Pete Golding. You would like to have both gone, if you could. But the lesser of two evils, which would you take? And even with these two, could you still see Alabama cleaning the stuff up that happened against Texas? We're going to go to our first break here. Don't touch that down. When we get back, I want to hear from you. Lay it on me, Bama Nation. Your conversations, your dialogues, your complaints, your events. Lay it on me, folks. We'll get back to it after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
This is Chris Rogers, 2009 national champion. You are listening to the baddest, when I say the baddest, sports show in the state of Alabama. In my own words, yours truly, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Don't touch that dial.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, baby, we're back into the action from the break on a Wednesday, hump day, hottest show on the streets, covering your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We go to the phone lines now to grab your calls. The call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang at 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from. You're live on the show, caller. We lost that call there, but we have this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling?
Hey,
State your name and where you calling from.
This is Mike from Kentucky. How you doing, brother?
Mike, what's going on, man? What's up, Mike? What's going on, Mike?
I'm doing all right, brother. I'm not too worried about, I'm not too worried about the early season, man. Texas ain't, man, I'm having trouble hearing you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. I mean, it's early in the year. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Yeah.
I can.
Anybody that thinks the Texas Longhorns is a layup game don't know much about college football.
I mean, Texas came in prepared, man. I mean, Sarkisian came prepared.
Always got athletes, man. It's the state of Texas. I mean, look how many D1 schools are playing out of that one state. What is it, 7 or 8 schools?
Right.
There's plenty of talent in the state of Texas, and Texas always has it. They've just been, coach poor, for a while, but now they're not. And, I expected that to be a close game. I'm a little surprised at the way the secondary played at times, and we still got some O-line issues, but, we were playing against real football players, and it's early in the year. I'm glad we've got a couple of easy games coming up, hopefully easy games that, maybe they can do a little experimenting with the DBs, see what they can do, maybe change a few things up and just give a couple of kids a look while we got a chance before we get into the meat of the schedule. What do you think, Stephen?
Absolutely, Mike, and they're going to have to do that, especially these next 2 weeks against Louisiana Monroe and Vanderbilt. You're going to have to get your right guys on the field, right guys on the offensive line. I've been saying it. You got to stop the mixing and matching, get you 5 guys on that offensive line you can trust, roll with them. Get the problem straight in the defensive secondary. You maybe have to look at the middle linebacker spot also. Probably have to start working in Kendrick. Absolutely. You got to start working in Kendrick Blackshire a little bit more.
Yeah, we haven't had a middle linebacker since Reuben Foster, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean, that's been a minute, bro. What's that been, 5-6 years?
About 5-6 years,
no doorstop. Yeah, we ain't had a doorstop tackler in the middle, that just stop you cold. And, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the game's changed where you can't just jump up in there and fill gaps. I mean, I don't really the game's changed so much. It's hard for me to keep up with it. But I think we're going to be fine. I really do. I think we need to look at our recruiting on the O-line. We've been missing bad on the O-line on recruits, man. I thought 3 years ago we had, the best haul of offensive lineman in the history of the school. you know, the Brockemeyer boys were supposed to be as good as the Quanjo brothers. Yeah, somebody was lying. But, you know, I think we'll straighten it out. I'm not too worried. As long as Bryce Young's on the field, we got a chance. Roll Tide, Steven. I'm going to let you go, brother.
Appreciate my man Mike from Kentucky calling in. Yeah, the 2021 offensive line so far not panning out to what we thought at the beginning. Now, J.C. Latham's panning out. He's playing good ball, but he's the only one. So hopefully these guys that coming in the future, guys like Olas Anganin and Raquez McElderry, Miles McVay, and Wilkin Formby, you know, those guys pan out. But we take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Stephen, I'm Mr. Robert from Mobile.
Robert, what's going on, man?
Hey, man. All right for Alabama is not the same as all right for other schools. You know, if Texas is really that great a good team and we're only 1 point better than they are, I don't believe Georgia's only 1 point better than Texas. I don't believe Ohio State is only 1 point better than Texas. If we're only 1 point better than Texas, then we can't win the national championship. And that's what, you know, it means for us. We can't, we don't want to waste the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest quarterback in Alabama history and not get a championship with him because we give him one of the not as in sync Alabama teams that Nick Saban. I keep thinking if Bryce Young had A.J. McCarron's team, goodness gracious, we'd be killing team. We win ugly. Or if he had Jay Coger's team. Or if he had Mac Jones' team. Or Tua's team. It's unfortunate we can't get this guy the talent that we got those guys. And because it just seems, well, maybe we have it, it's just not clicking yet. But we're not okay, of course. And, you know, it's like I said, if we're only 1 point better than Texas, we can't win a national championship. We have to be more than 1 point better. We have to be a couple of touchdowns better than Texas. Or let's put it this way, we have to eventually get to where we're a couple of touchdowns better than Texas, no matter where we play them, in order to be able to beat Georgia and Ohio State, probably the two teams that, hey, if we can't get it in gear, we can't beat them. And that's the thing. We want national championships. So right now we're not okay. We got to get there to where we are okay. The next time we play Texas, it doesn't matter if we're playing at high noon or what time, or if we're at your stadium and there's a single Alabama fan in the stadium. We're going to still beat you by 14, 21 points because we're going to run through you and that kind of thing. But the glaring weaknesses are just too obvious. And like you asked the question, which one do we get rid of, Bill O'Brien or Pete Golden? Right now, definitely Bill O'Brien. I mean, Pete Golden's defense did his job. In fact, if the offense had been more effective, they could have done an even better job against Texas. So, yeah, it's Bill O'Brien. It's been 2 years, and the guy can't give us an effective offense, which is all we need. Even when we had two streakers, let's say that. It was pretty effective last year when we were full strength with Mechie and Jameson Williams. However, we're not developing the folks after them. So that needs to start happening too. So, and the play calling, which we all looked at and we just shake our heads, is why this, why that? The inability and the unwillingness to stick with the run is one of the biggest problems we have with Bill O'Brien. And stick with it a little longer. Again, at 4th and inches, we all look and say, why are you 5 yards back? Why is that not Jalen Milroe? Why is that not Gibbs or the second string running back? Why is it your third string running back? But to be fair to O'Brien, if the offensive line doesn't get pushed back and he doesn't trip, we still get that first down. But it doesn't make you the personnel you had in there to run it, and the way you did it any less dumb. And that's the thing we're struggling with Bill O'Brien. So, yeah, we're not okay. We got to, like I said, we got 2 games to get ready for Arkansas. Arkansas is the next test. We find out have we improved, and because but we need to trash you Louisiana Monroe, trash Vanderbilt, rush on these teams for almost 250 to 300 yards. Bill, you got to commit to that. If he doesn't, if the next 2 games he doesn't, then man, maybe we should figure out, maybe we can do without you for the rest of the season. But yeah, I wish we were fine. We'll find out the next game how it's going to be. All right, buddy.
Appreciate my man Robert from Mobile calling in. This is why these next two games are critical. These next two games are critical to see the identity of this team running the football, the identity of this team in terms of receivers being able to get open, and the identity of this team in terms of defense, who steps up to finish aside from Will and Dallas. And then in the secondary, is it time to just throw caution to the wind? Just play Eli Ricks. Play him. Got to play him. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from. You're live on the show, caller.
Yeah. This is Munchie from Inglewood.
What's on your mind, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I don't like that everybody is kind of complaining about Bill O'Brien. Me personally, I don't feel Bill O'Brien is necessarily really the problem, because being an offensive coordinator is very tricky. If I run this play on 4th and inches, if I run this play on 3rd and inches, if it works, I'm great. If it doesn't work, I'm a bad offensive coordinator. You have to understand that he's working with what he got. That's what people don't understand. You have to work with what you have as an offensive coordinator. Yes, there is different little tweaks and different things he can do, but he's playing with receiver. Ja'Cory Brooks needs to be starting. I like Kobe Prentice. Kobe Prentice can go back and forth with Isaiah Bond, and it's different things that you can adjust. The offensive line definitely needs to improve, but the main thing that needs to really be going on, Eli Ricks needs to start. That's the best corner in the country. He needs to be starting. Period. There's they're saying he's nursing an injury. Then they saying it's not an injury. He needs to learn the playbook. I played corner in high school and I played corner in Division I college. I understand, yes, you need to understand the system, but if it's one-on-one man coverage, you don't need to teach that man that. It ain't no playbook for one-on-one man coverage. Just let this man play man, and I guarantee they won't throw the ball his way.
Appreciate that thought right there. Coming into the show, looking at Eli Ricks, and I understand it's difficult in being an offensive coordinator. I get it. It's difficult having to scheme and draw up stuff and develop stuff and put things in order. My thing is, when I look at Bill O'Brien, he still thinks he's in the NFL half the time. He still thinks he's coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Houston Texans, and he's having people run just vertical routes downfield. If you're seeing the vertical routes downfield not working, work in a pop pass. Work in a screen. We used to get mad at Lane Kiffin for running the jet sweep to Ardarius Stewart, but hey, it worked half the time. I mean, Ardarius would turn his hips or turn his shoulder, touchdown. Like, do things to get your players in space, wiggle room, be able to maneuver and operate. If you're seeing running vertical down the field ain't helping, make an adjustment. That's what the Bama Nation's saying to you. If you see what you are running is obviously not working, make an adjustment. And then adjust off the adjustment if something's not working. Be 3 to 4 steps ahead of what you're trying to do here. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's up, Stephen? It's Jason out of Enterprise.
What's happening, man?
I don't see too much wrong. Like, I really think Texas is just back. I think Sark got them back. It seemed like the talent was there. It seemed like they sort of at times, they seemed like they were too much for it. It's like their size and the attitude they were playing with. I didn't see the same attitude in our Bama players that I usually see. It seemed like the Bama sideline was at a funeral out there. I ain't see nobody crunk. I ain't see nobody acting like roughnecks on the football field. It's like we was intimidated. Like, Bama don't put the fear in teams like we used to no more.
And Jason,
like,
Jason, that's been a conversation that a lot of people have had, because you look back at, recent teams under Saban, especially defensive teams, where you saw the Jonathan Allens, Deron Paynes, they used to be hopping up and down, crunk on the sideline. Like, you knew you were going to play an Alabama team when you saw those guys. They used to get loose out there. They used to get real loose out there, and they used to play like when they hit you, my guy, you've been hit. Like that type of intensity, that type of pit bull that's off the leash coming at you at full speed, like that's what you as fans grew accustomed to. And that begs the question, what's the recruiting like now? How are the guys being evaluated now? Are we getting the guys that have the mindset of something got to give, or is Bama getting the guys that are just happy to be there?
Right. It's like the players, like, I don't know if it's just like how they feel about the team they playing, but it's like they playing timid out there. It's like they playing real timid. I don't see that killer instinct in nobody out there. But like I say, on our offense, I see it in Bryce. On our defense, I just see it in Moody. But like another big issue I saw was it's like the coaches, like nowadays, it's like they don't want to bench players when they see they ain't producing in the game. Like when you see the receivers ain't getting separation, sub somebody else in. Like I think Leary would have been ready. I think Law could have did something. Emmanuel Henderson, he from my neck of the woods. I know he would have did something. It's like when you see the players ain't getting it done, like why you steady going with it? Try something else. You might can get a matchup that'll work in our favor.
And at that point, Jason, this is where Saban is loyal to a fault. This is where he's a little too loyal in a sense of I understand he likes his veteran guys, his guys, but at some point when your guys aren't doing it, you got to roll the dice on somebody else. And we saw this when Jalen was struggling, he rolled the dice on Tua. When other guys were struggling, he rolled the dice to put somebody out there. You got to be able to do that when you see if one of my guys, I call my guy, is not producing, put somebody out there on the field that's going to produce and live with the mistakes. There may be some mistakes, but live with those mistakes, especially if that's a young brother that's going to produce. Appreciate Jason there from Enterprise with that call. We grabbed this one here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Steven, it's Wednesday. What's happening, man? Everything good in Birmingham?
Everything's all right, Waylon. Everything's good, my man. We're okay. We're trying to, Bama's trying to get these 2 weeks. First week, Louisiana Monroe this week. Next week, Vanderbilt, to get what needs to be worked out before Arkansas comes in here.
Well, I was going through some video this morning. I'm going to make this quick when we was fishing, and I got some stuff to do. They may not be the best offensive coordinators in the world or defensive coordinators, but took us to a national championship last year. So, we got there, so something was going right. Everything's not going to go right all the time, but I just hope they stay there in jail and everything. This swapping of the new offensive coordinator for 2 or 3 years or defense coordinator for 2 or 3 years, I think that's what's wrong with the program right now, a lot of what's wrong with it. So, anyway, y'all looking good. Y'all keep this show the hottest show on the street, hottest show on YouTube, hottest show in the world there. Y'all looking good. Blue Ridge game. Steven, stay safe. I'll be back Friday maybe. I don't know. Good Lord's willing. If not, we'll watch a ball game Saturday and have a good time. Y'all be safe this weekend. I'll see y'all next week probably. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate Waylon calling in here on a Wednesday. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? It's your boy Elijah from Jersey. How you feeling tonight, man?
Doing great, my man. What's going on with you, Elijah?
Nothing, man. I mean, I've been saying it for a long time, Steve. A lot of people want to sit back and be like, oh, Elijah's negative, Elijah's this. No, Elijah's just calling it how we see it. I don't have on my Bama goggles. When I see wrong, I see wrong. I'm not going to sit there and say this is wrong, but since I'm a Bama fan, I'm just going to say it's right. Nah, that's not my thing. And on Saturday, it's like I called last week. You cannot judge a team when you playing Utah State. You know what I'm saying? When anything will work against Utah State. Everybody going to look good against Utah State. But What happens when somebody's capable of punching back? How do you respond? You know, and from what I've seen, Steve, and let me know if you've seen something different. But it didn't matter what they put out there. Them defensive backs could not keep up with that boy Worthy. They got exposed, and all year long, people are going to take their shots at them corners. Now, don't get me wrong. Eli Ricks, if this young man didn't deserve an opportunity on Saturday, I don't know how bad you got to play at the defensive back position to give somebody else an opportunity, Steve. Like Kool-Aid, he got smoked in every sense of the word. You know, Arnold came in there and did a much better job, but, you know, it just, around the secondary, man, it looked horrible where if you put yourself in Eli Ricks' position, what do you do? How do you feel? See? You know what I mean? Like, you telling me these guys is playing like this and I don't get a chance to get on the field to show you what I can do? Like, it looks crazy as a fan when you got this kid that's supposed to be all this and all that. You go into the portal and get him. What you go get him for? To keep him on the bench? It's pointless that they even brought this young man in there if they're going to let him ride the bench. And I always said this, Steve. Everybody want to talk about, how good somebody's practicing, how good somebody is looking during practice. That's practice. How good are they going to look when them lights is on and it's 100,000 people screaming in the stadium? That's when it's time now to show and prove. I'm pretty sure Kool-Aid looked good in practice, Steve. He looked damn good. Saturday at noon, he didn't look worth a damn out there. You know, a lot of other people. I've been saying Henry Tutu. He ain't no Alabama linebacker, see? He gets dragged all the time. It was one play that, you know, the running back from Texas, Bijan, man, he flatlined him coming through the hole. He's not an Alabama linebacker, and I don't understand. And it hits on your point you just made. What does somebody have to do to get on the field to replace some of these starters? Because everybody was talking about this defense. I told you weeks ago, Steve, that this defense, a lot of its players have not been battle tested. I don't care what type of name you got coming in. You have to be battle tested, you know. And that defensive line, ain't nobody showed me nothing up there. None of them. It's three people that I can sit there and say, I'll hang my hat on that defense. Will Anderson, he's human. He's allowed to have a bad game. But we know he's battle tested, okay? The other one, Dallas Turner, he's been battle tested. Well, he still got things to prove, but we like what he's promising. You know, in Jordan Battle, you know, he's been through the wars with this team. Everybody else on there, they got something to prove. Both inside linebackers, the whole defensive line, and definitely both cornerback positions, they have not been battle tested at all, Steve. None of them. And the last point I want to bring up is these wide receivers, they can't get no separation, Steve. None at all. They ain't getting no separation. People want to say Bryce Young is holding on to the ball. Well, you know what? If you ain't got a man open and you're waiting for somebody to get open, but they ain't getting that separation, you got to hold on to the ball or you got to take off. You know, it's only so many options you got. You know, and plus you add in a mix of Bill O'Brien's stupid play calling, that makes it 10 times worse. So with that being said, you can't blame Bryce for all this and all that. You just got to take it for what it is and leave it at that. So let me know how you feel, Steve.
I mean, appreciate Elijah there for that call coming into the show. It's like you gotta get your best on the field. If this guy is your best, you gotta put your best on the field. It doesn't matter at what position it is. If this is your best, they need to see the field. And these next 2 weeks, prime opportunity for Coach Saban to get these guys on the field. And I thought about this, John. I want to bring a hypothetical out here. Could it be the fact there's been so much turnover on the coaching staff at Alabama under Saban that Saban is reluctant to let a Golding or a O'Brien go because of the turnover? He's tired of seeing the turnover. He's tired of having the coach come in for 1 to 2 years and then other teams come calling because Nick Saban's like LinkedIn, Once you get to work with Nick Saban, your resume get pushed to the front of a table. And so these coaches come in, kind of pimp Nick Saban out for a better coaching opportunity, and then 1 to 2 years later, they shipped out somewhere else. And then that process happens over and over and over. And I understand Coach Saban always tells the players, hey, it doesn't matter who walks through these doors, just trust me, I got you. And I get it, you trust Coach Saban, absolutely, but at the same time, it takes a toll on you. All of this turnover, it takes a toll on you, and now this is a situation that you have. And I've always said that there's just some coaches you just don't let walk. You don't let a Jeremy Pruitt just walk. You don't let a Jeff Stoutland or a Kyle Flood or a Mario Cristobal or a Bobby Williams or a Bo Davis or a Burton Burns. You don't let guys just two-step out the door like that. OGs in the game that players respect like that. You just don't let those type of coaches just walk out the front door. Don't do that. And all of those cats just walked right out the front door. So, just a hypothetical here. This is a hypothetical. Could be right, could be wrong. I mean, life. Could it be the turnover has taken that toll in terms of rotation of coaches that Saban's reluctant to let a Bill or a Pete go? Definitely want your thoughts on that, fans. Could Saban be reluctant? Once again, I could be flat wrong. I'm cool with that. But just want your thoughts there on that hypothetical. But we go to a quick topic right here, and this goes to Minkah Fitzpatrick, former Alabama defensive backs, current safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was AFC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Cincinnati Bengals. This man had a defense that just destroyed Cincinnati last week. I mean, Minkah had an interception in the game. Minkah had a blocked field goal in the game. Minkah was doing whatever Minkah felt like he wanted to do. And so shouts out to him. This is the reason why he's one of the best, if not the best safety in the league, and also why he is the highest paid safety in the NFL. But we're going to go to a break right here, folks. For all of y'all still holding on the call line, hold on for 10 minutes or call back in the next 10 minutes. But we're going to go to a break right here. When we get back, I'm going to dive into this conversation on Alabama's corners. To me, it's just time to play Eli Ricks. Some guys are practice guys, I get it. But some guys, when you turn them lights on, they just natural-born ballers. Eli Ricks, natural-born baller. It's time to play this man, and we get to why after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
What's poppin', people? It's Wednesday, hump day. You're rocking and rolling right here. Hottest show on the streets. Number one forum for your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith. Touchdown. And the Bama Magazine got the man John Ivory riding shotgun there in the production studio. Give it up for John Ivory one time, doing his thing as he always does here on the network. But we get into now conversation of the defensive backs, particularly corners for the Crimson Tide. And, these 2 weeks, John, Coach Saban has a chance to really see, okay, who are my two best corners, right? I've had this competition. I talked about this competition there, but with Arkansas looming large on the horizon, I got to get to these two starting corners, and I got to get to them now. So you look at, to me, Terrion Arnold and Eli Ricks. I think these two are your two best guys, simply because I think these two guys are your two best guys. I mean, you look at Terrion Arnold, came off the bench against Texas, redshirt freshman, not just a whole lot of playing time, but a whole lot of confidence. And he actually did a pretty solid job against Xavier Worthy. In the second half, where Alabama went to Arnold, when Alabama went to Arnold, Xavier Worthy was not, his targets dropped in that second half. That first half, Quinn Ewers was hooking up with Worthy like 7-Eleven. We open all day, baby. Get your Denny's Grand Slam right here. Like, Ewers to Worthy was big money first half. That second half, where Terrion Arnold went in, Worthy's production dropped some. Now, it was a big job there by Terrion Arnold. Having the confidence out there playing. Former 5-star from Florida, a guy that's highly instinctive, very smart, extremely bright. You could tell there's a reason why he surged big time in fall camp. And then Eli Ricks, look, this guy, former 5-star for a reason, right? 6'2", 200 pounds. This guy, the length, the size, the athleticism, the ball skills. He was not freshman all-SEC for nothing back in 2020 at LSU. There was a reason he was freshman all-SEC. The guy had 4 picks as a freshman, okay? Turned around, got his head turned, played the ball, played with incredible technique. Now, 2021, yes, he had the shoulder injury, missed a lot of time. Yes, when he got here in Tuscaloosa, he battled with a little bit of a back injury along with the shoulder and picking up the defense. But you can't coach that type of talent and that type of ability. And as complex as the Nick Saban system is, asking Eli Ricks to go man-to-man and lock up an opposing team's best receiver and take that guy completely out of his element, it don't take a complex playbook to do that. You just tell Eli Ricks, hey, son, you be on that guy like white on rice. You follow him. You be on him like a bad dream. You follow him and you take him completely out of the play, completely out of the picture. Man on man, mano a mano, you wreck his life. You wreck it as a corner. I think Eli Ricks is more than capable of just wrecking an opposing receiver's life, just one-on-one. I think he's more than capable of doing that because, to me, I watched Kool-Aid McKinstry and Kyrie Jackson going on now 2 years. Kool-Aid, cool nickname. It was fun seeing Coach Saban say it the entire spring of this past year. But, I mean, the man got completely roasted against Texas. Got roasted. And then Kyrie Jackson, 6'3", good size, but he got completely roasted also. And Arkansas, LSU, A&M, Mississippi State, Auburn, Tennessee, they've all gotten that film from the Texas game. And they're licking their lips going, oh, baby, if we get Kyrie and Kool-Aid, we finna have some fun. Now, I understand that none of those teams I just mentioned have Steve Sarkisian as their offensive coordinator, but Lane Kiffin is a mastermind. He got the tape. Mike Leach, air raid, mastermind. He got the tape. Josh Heupel, sneaky good at Tennessee. Hendon Hooker is his quarterback. He got the tape. Kendall Browse is the offensive coordinator at Arkansas, in case you didn't know. And KJ Jefferson is a bad man. Arkansas's got that tape. So there's some teams got that tape from Texas. And if they see Kool-Aid and Kyrie, they telling their quarterbacks, hey, attack, chunk it deep, throw it. They cannot cover. They cannot cover whatsoever. So starting this thing off here, getting back to Eli Ricks, I'm going to say this. I understand Nick Saban insinuating that he's struggling in practice. I understand Nick Saban insinuating on Eli Ricks that you got to get him going out there in practice. But I'm going to steal a line from my man Alec Iverson. You talk about practice. Practice? Not the game. Not the game. Talk about practice. We talk about practice out here. But the point being, some guys are practice guys. They go out there, they practice well, but when the lights come on, it ain't there. Case in point for Alabama, bless his heart, Ben Davis. Ben Davis, good practice player. Couldn't quite get it with them lights on. Couldn't quite get it with them lights on. You look at a lot of guys are like that. Great practice player. But when the lights come on and it's a game, and you got 100,000 fans yelling obscenities at you and screaming down your neck, too much for him. Eli Ricks may be one of them guys where practice may not be his best. When the lights come on, he a completely different cat. He a completely different dude. He just ball out. Johnny Manziel was the same way. Y'all remember Johnny football? Johnny Manziel practice, and Johnny wasn't about no practice. When the lights came on, College Station, Johnny turned up. Johnny was out there doing this little thug thizzle out there. That was Johnny. Same thing with Eli Ricks. May not be the practice player, but on the field, them lights on, it's Saturday night, that man gonna get down to business. He gonna get down to work. And that's what Saban has got to see here. This is what Coach Saban's got to see here. You went in and you got this man from the transfer portal. You went in and got him. So because you went in there and got him, obviously there's something you see in Eli Ricks, obviously. And I understand there's a lot of former Saban players that will say, well, if you don't practice the right way, he's about you practicing the right way. You got to practice well. I understand all of that. Played high school ball. I understand all of that, the importance of practice. I was the greatest practice player myself. But half the time, my coach didn't even want to put me in the game. And I practiced my butt off. And I was ready to go in and dominate. I had to sub myself in the game one time. That's besides the point. Point being, I practiced my butt off. The coach didn't want to put me out there. Here's Eli Ricks. May not be the greatest practice player, but we've seen his work. 4 picks as a freshman at LSU. All SEC freshman team. Put this man on the field. Kyrie ain't doing it for you. Kool-Aid ain't doing it for you. Terry Arnold's got potential. Who's the second corner? You gotta look at Eli. You gotta look at Eli Ricks. If you're not gonna look at Eli Ricks, at least for goodness sake, look at Jaquez Robinson. Please, look at Jaquez Robinson. At least. And here's a guy that came in the 2020 class, 4-star from South Florida. Here's a guy that came in, size, very comparable to Trayvon Diggs. Skill set, very comparable to Trayvon Diggs. He came in and prepared Alabama for the Citrus Bowl against Michigan. And Coach Saban talked about it. Jaquez Robinson has earned that right to have a role here in the secondary. Well, if he's earned the right to have that role, let's see Jacquez Robinson at corner. If you're not going to play Eli Ricks, at least let's see Jacquez. At least let's see him. If he didn't earn the role, put the brother out here. Let's see what he can do. But these next 2 weeks, that corner spot's got to be solved. Because after watching Texas, everybody's got that film. And they're licking their chops. So between Terrion Arnold, Eli Ricks, Jacquez Robinson, put somebody out there within those three. Somebody got to be out there to get this cornerback spot in the line. But we're going to take another break here, folks. Don't touch that dab. Because when we get back, we return to you guys. We get your calls, your thoughts, your dialogue, your conversations after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to WhitwellSports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're back into the action here, folks, from the break on a Wednesday. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We go to the phone lines to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steven? It's your boy, Coach Smooth, calling from Phoenix City, Alabama, man. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, my man? What's up with you?
Man, nothing much, man. Just in here enjoying the chat tonight. I like to see how a tough game can really put a fan base in perspective, man. Put a lot of things in perspective and show, like, I enjoy these types of times in Alabama football because we get to really see what our team is going to be going forward. Every time we hit a week like this, we get to see what our team is going to be going forward. And after the A&M loss last year, we saw what our team was going to be going forward. We knew we was going to have to rely on their offense, and we knew that Will Anderson, you know, that defense was a bend but don't break type defense. They weren't dominant, but they were consistently bend but don't break. You know, get down inside the red zone and hold the team up or come up with some type of miraculous turnover. That's just how our team was built last year. But I enjoy these times. One thing that I did want to touch on, though, is just the specialty groups as far as DBs and wide receivers, and the type of adjustments that I would expect a coaching staff who's seeing consistent problems arise with certain play calls and certain sets that we're putting out there, especially in the secondary. I honestly believe we need to go back to a too high safety style offense. Defense, because we don't have a proven corner that can really give you a lock scheme. The type of offense that Alabama runs with the one high, they kind of play him kind of like a rover, kind of like a high rover, where he's supposed to make the read off of the number 2 receiver on the strong side. And for some reason, neither Battle or Hellum seems to have the urgency or the ability to make the read within them first, 4 or 5 steps by these receivers. And that's why we see our corners being left on the island. And I know a lot of people don't understand what I just explained, but it's basically saying that, these safeties are being excused for being lazy, and that shouldn't be. So if you got lazy safeties, lazy athletic safeties, leave 2 of them up there. Helms is athletic. Helms can play the ball in the air when Helms only has to cover a half of a field. Jordan Battle I believe Jordan Battle is, has one of the best covered safeties in overtop safeties in the SEC or in the nation. But making the read is where he struggles at. So it's just one of those things you think a coaching staff, like, okay, let's simplify it for these guys and allow them in position to just fly to the ball. So that's one thing I would love to see, and definitely put Ricks and Arnold out there. They've proven to be your most consistent cover corners. We haven't seen Ricks get tested yet to get burned. We've seen Arnold get tested downfield and make adjustment on the ball. No matter what they say, wide receivers pushing off down low, he got the same advantage by tugging on the top of the shoulder. It goes both ways. That's why the ref didn't call it when he made the nice breakup downfield against Texas. So that I see why you don't get that a chance. And let Mitch and Malachi Moore stay on the field together. They have such a chemistry on that field together. They're very effective together. I don't know what it is. Branch is just solid all the way around, no matter where you put him. But those two on the field together really cut down a lot of mistakes in that secondary. And then for the wide receivers, Steven, we got to let Brooks, we got to let Leary, we got to let Holder, we got to let Prentice. We got to let those guys get their looks. Burton cannot be our primary read as the wide receiver and our passing concepts. If we're going to run simple passing concepts like that, we got to have guys that can either win on their routes early or they're going to be strong at attacking the ball. A lot of times, a lot of reasons why Latu is getting receptions is because he's attacking the ball. He's not waiting for the ball to get to him. Burton's not attacking the ball at all. Trayshawn Holden gets held a lot at the top of his route, and he still attacks the ball. Ja'Cory Brooks, that's what makes him such a strong and consistent receiver. He attacks the ball no matter where it's thrown. And I think Prentice and Isaiah Bonds are learning that. The small lapses that they had, I expect that from freshmen. I don't see Prentice making that mistake again. And I see them learning how to work, the extended pass game, working back to the ball. Those guys grew up in the fourth quarter. I went back and I watched the game, and they were growing up during the game, and that was a good, positive thing to take away. But those drops, you can't have them. I don't care what, freshman, whatever. If it touches your hands, you got to pull it in. But definitely get Burton away from being the first look. I believe he can be a great spot player. Give Leary a true chance. Too much speed sitting on the sideline, coach, not to even try it. You got all these burning routes, these burn routes on the field, these ceiling routes getting thrown, calling these ceiling concepts, but you don't have the speed out there to run it. You got 4.2, 4.3 speed sitting on the bench. What are we doing? So I would love to see just more consistency in the play calling, and definitely that personnel change on the secondary. Steven, tell me what you think about those two thoughts. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Smoke, this is the reason why, like I mentioned, these 2 weeks, we got to see that. These 2 weeks, we got to see Leary get worked out there. We got to see Ja'Cory Brooks get worked out there. We have to see everybody that's been recruited that's playing here get worked out there, attack the ball, work back to the quarterback, that being Bryce Young. And then defensively, let's look at Ricks. Let's look at Terry and Arnold. Let's look at Jacquez Robinson. Let's get a Malachi and a Brian Branch together. And let's really take these 2 weeks for Alabama football and put our best guys out here and not just say we play our best, but actually do it, actually perform that. We go to this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yes, Steven. This is Scott Sheridan down in Texas. How you doing, young brother?
Scott, what's going on, man?
Man, just sitting here enjoying your show as always. I just got a couple of points real quick. And first, I just want to say this. Here's something I've heard on some other shows that a lot of Alabama fans are fretting about the coordinators. Well, they ran into a buzzsaw Saturday. And the reason they ran into a buzzsaw Saturday is because you've got some of the best coordinators at Texas that came from Alabama, not to mention the influence of Gary Patterson. And I tell you what I saw in that Texas team Saturday was it was jaw-dropping. But Alabama fans, don't fret, relax. You're still Alabama. But I did want to say something about this. Worthy's performance. I heard something about Worthy's performance in the second half getting shut down. Yeah, it did, because Sarkisian, because he was playing with the second-team quarterback who was hobbled, drew up another plan for him to keep Texas in the game. Sarkisian's performance in that game, he was like a Rembrandt. He had his paintbrush, and he just painted a beautiful plan. You can say what you want, but when you can paint that kind of plan against a defense that is like NFL quality at Alabama and do what they were able to do, I'm going to tell you something. That was real impressive. If I'm other Big 12 coaches around the league right now, I am taking note. And lastly, I'm just going to say this real quick. I got a burnt orange shirt. I'd love to send it to you to replace that lemon drop shirt you got on today, but you still look good, brother.
And Scott, I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate Scott calling in there from Texas, giving his thoughts here on the show. Steve Sarkisian, a masterful game plan. I got to give it to him. He proved he could be toe-to-toe there with Coach Saban, and almost got him one. We'll take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Ooh, Steve, it's Jay. Let me roll out. Up, buddy.
I knew you were Jay. I knew you were coming, Jay. I knew you were coming.
Man, you knew by the time this week was out I was coming. All this bull we talking about players not executing plays, all that. Man, watch all that bull down the toilet where it belongs. Bill O'Brien, his double ASS needs to get his point about that press box and get him the field players. You've been able to field your offensive line and your offensive team after they got an 81-yard touchdown, a rushing touchdown, right? You ain't going to come out here the next 14 or the next 15 plays, bro. We passed the ball. After that. Steve, man, I talk football when I talk football, and we need to talk real football, bro. Why passing the blank ball so much, buddy? That don't make no sense, Bill O'Brien. This is Alabama. Everybody know when you watch Alabama, you going to watch a heck of a running game and a heck of a defense flying around on your double ASS. Bill, get out of that press box and get down here with these folks, man. This is college football is a field game, bro. You got to have a good feel for the game, the ebbs and flows, right, of your offensive team. And you would have been able to look at your offensive line in the face after they just gave up a 81-yard touchdown. I would have put my hands on somebody, man. Come on, Steve. We doing too much giving Bill all these breaks, man. And that is ridiculous. Pete did all right. Only thing I'm mad about, Pete, is you gotta bump my boy. You gotta bump my boy Will. On third down, you gotta go put him inside one time, man. You done jumped off. The first time you jumped off sides, you lined up off sides. I can respect that. Second time, you eager. You eager. You jump off sides. Guess what I'm gonna say? I ain't gonna give you no third time. Hey, buddy, I'm gonna go and bump you in. Quit trying to hide stuff. Quit trying, man. You've been talking all summer about these three defensive ends and plays and all this and that. Man, well, let's see it. And that was the game we were supposed to see it, Steve. Will, you jumped outside. I'm gonna bump your double ASS in closer to the ball. I know you strong enough to handle the run. Is you strong enough to handle the run? You ask that man, can you handle this 300-pounder? And on third down, I'm going to let you do what you do with him, Steve. Come on, man. We got to get back on these coordinators and stuff, man. Now, Will, you know I've been hollering Will for Heisman all summer, and I'm still hollering. That was Pete, man. That was Pete. But Bill, come on, man. Watch Georgia versus Oregon. They ran one running play, Steve. What was the running play? Inside zone. Just a straight ISO play, a dive play, bruh. They ran that play 100 times on them folks, man. What that mean? That means me in the center, whoever in front of us, we going to double team his blank and move him off the ball, and I'm going to go up there to that linebacker. Right, Steve?
Hey, you hitting it, man. You hitting it. You preaching, man. Keep going. You preaching.
Oh, man. We got to get back to being able to run the ball, bro. It is not play. It is not, the players they're not executing the plays. Well, how about you give me something that I want to execute, man? Now, I don't want to come out here and run no RPO and all that other stuff. Give
the people the ball, Steve. You got 4 running backs, bro. We have not seen we ain't seen Trey Sanders yet. We ain't seen the little rookie, Miller. Come on, man, against Utah State. That man should have been able to get the ball 50 times, man. We should have been blew them folks out, man. Bill O'Brien is the problem. Alabama got to get back to running the football. We got away from it when we got to it. And don't nobody want to hear it, but when we had to it, we got back to all that RPO and all that instead of just handing the ball off to Najee like we should have in the Clemson game. But I ain't going to go back 6 years. I'm still mad about that one, Steve. Forgive me. But because we should have been running the ball, bro. Anytime Alabama lose, you look back and say, dang, on the goal line, Steve. Second down, 2nd and 10. What did Bill O'Brien do? On hour 2, man, you gonna call a play action, buddy. Why would you do that? Like, that don't even make sense. Now we got Texas fans talk about, oh, that was a safety on Bryce. To me, it was. But what can I say if the ref don't call it? I can say it was a stupid play call and it shouldn't have never happened. You run the ball. You put Robbie Oo's big self back there. He a fullback, Steve. That man is a modern age fullback, dog. You put him back there, let whoever line him up, put somebody behind him, and guess what all game we about to see? ISO, downhill straight, dive play, bro. We got to get that together. Up the middle running. I love y'all.
Up the middle running. There it is. Jay from Sheffield, bringing the passion, bringing the heat. Got to love Jay calling in. Every time, Jay is like the new Kyle from Foley in a sense. Getting you hyped up, man, ready to go. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
If you hear me, this is Murdoch, and I'm also calling from Texas.
What's going on, man?
Well, I've been listening to you for a couple of years, but tonight it's just kind of sad because we have people questioning Nick Saban. You know, Nick Saban has probably forgotten more football than all of us and all your subscribers combined. You know, won't we just let Ricks just do what he want to do? Won't the next day Terrion Arnold come and say, I don't feel like practicing hard, or I don't want to learn my craft and be the best player that I can be? How about Kool-Aid coming in the day after that? When you allow players to do what they want to do, you end up getting fired from your job. And that's why Nick Saban has sustained excellence for these many years. There's only one standard. And he could probably count on his hand how many players that he's coached that coasted, didn't study, didn't do their job. They just relied on athletic ability. That's probably not a success formula for him. And I coached for 22 years, and I'm a school counselor now. I've never been successful when I let people do what they want to do, because that's when your program go down. That's when Jimbo Fisher have to leave Florida State. That's how Ed Orgeron leave LSU, because they don't have standards for their players. And once you let one get away with it, everybody get away with it. And so then you start to lose, and you start to people start questioning if you still got it. But there's only one standard. You got to practice hard every day, and you got to know what you're doing. And my advice to Eli Ricks, because once you go to the professional ranks, you ain't going to be able to go over there and put a towel on your head and sulk because you never competed for a position. You're going to have to compete for a job and have the character to be able to sustain excellence, and you got to earn your position. That's why Nick Saban is the GOAT. That's why he has 7 championships. That's why people fall off after they win a championship, or maybe they win 2 and all of a sudden their program start to go down. No, you're going to practice hard. You're going to go to class. You're going to do your job. And when you're not playing, you're going to cheer for the other guy, because you don't know when your number going to get called. And that's why we lost the championship. We had guys, prima donnas, that, I was a star in high school. Why am I, my family looking at me? Why am I not playing? This is sad. Let me not prepare. I'm hurt. And then we lose the game when your number get called. So, you can let guys do what they want to do. Everybody can call in and say, let Eli Ricks play. I don't care. They've never coached. They've never taught kids character. They've never had to explain to a student and say, hey, look, I know what your own individual agenda is, but it's not going to help the team win. I need you to do this and do it right all the time so we can win and we can sustain excellence. On bad days like down in Austin, we still win because of the discipline and the character that we learn. That's how you win. That's why he's the greatest. You can't put a guy out there because everybody think he's talented. All the newspapers saying he's going in the first round. You got to earn your job. And the great ones, if you are great, you embrace that. So I'm sad because I can't believe people calling in saying, just put him out there. I don't care. Just put him out there. They've never coached. They've never had to teach kids. What about your program? So is Terry Arnold, can he do that? So everybody's going to come to practice and say, I don't feel like practicing today. Well, Eli do it. So I could just go do what I want to do. And you know what? And if it don't go my way, I'm going to go put a towel on my head on national TV and let people know that I'm hurt. So, Steve, I love your show. I listen to it. I've always listened. I never called in. And I just had tonight because I coached. I went to theory classes in college. So I don't understand. I wish people would listen to themselves on your replay and say, if a child come over your house and you say, I'm going to give y'all some chili dogs, but when you finish, clean your area. And they don't do it. But you going to reward them with playing time? No. That's crazy. That's the people that are in the stands with the fans. The people that allow individuals to come in to be individuals and not do what the team needs and the goals and the pyramid scheme that we have on our wall that you have to do every day for our programs to maintain success and to continue to do what we're doing and maintain that throughout the years. So that's all I got, Steve. I think it's crazy, but we gotta teach these young men because it's bigger than just winning the game. What about their life? What about when football's over? Can you go to your job and do that? Go sit in the back and put a towel on your head because you didn't get the promotion? Well, it wasn't your time. Do what you're supposed to do the job description, and then you will earn your playing time. That's all I got, Steve. Thank you for taking my call, and I appreciate you. I love your show.
Appreciate Murdoch there from Texas offering it from a very intriguing life perspective right there. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Oh, this is Anthony Jennings. I'm calling from Alexander City, Alabama.
How we feeling, man?
I'm feeling terrific. But, I've been watching this football for a long time. I have family members that played there. Don't worry about that. We good.
You saying Alabama's still good to roll, right?
Oh yeah, we good, bro. It's always been a time where we struggle a little bit, but then after we get that we maintain.
Alabama definitely always tends to maintain. We appreciate Anthony there for that call coming out of Alexander City. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
What's going on, Steve? It's Tobias, man, calling from Fresno. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing great, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling real good, man. After a couple of days of reflection and all of that, went back and looked at the game, man. So I really called to apologize for a couple of things. Number one, on Saturday, some of us were calling in and we were kind of fired up, man. And it's important to realize, like, it is a game, man. It's a game, and it was a good game from a competitive standpoint. as an onlooker. And I think sometimes we be calling in acting like our kid was playing or something like that, But really, ain't nobody got skin in the game but them kids out there and those coaches. So I felt like it was a little bit of too much kind of yah-yah in my voice on Saturday because I was real frustrated, man, just because of all the build-up in the off season. But and I also always try to remind myself that these is kids. And I saw something TDA put up, and it was highlighting one of the callers, and it, said tall. The caller was attacking tall. Man, that's kind of in bad taste. Sometimes I forget that when I'm calling that this is a national and international show, I forget when we in the chat that it's open, it's World Wide Web. And, cause man, Steve, man, it's like the TDA family is family. So I really be feeling like when I'm in the chat, like I'm around the barbecue pit with y'all. That's the way I be feeling. And so I be forgetting that, wait a minute, other people can see this. The young people can see this. And I definitely don't want to be that fan base like Tennessee, running people off. People don't want to go there because fans acting so nuts and crazy over every little thing. It's not that there's not supposed to be a standard, but we got to remember who made that standard. I didn't make that standard. You know what I'm saying? Bama had that standard. And in the last umpteen years, Saban set that standard. So who better to defend that standard than the one that set it? So in this case, I just wanted to apologize if I, because I don't want these young people coming on here. We acting like they was driving drunk and killing people. Or we acting like they was raping somebody. You know what I'm saying? The boy missed his fit. That's all he missed. He missed his fit. And yes, there was a whatever run because of it. So got that off. Then I wanted to say, Steve, I want to apologize because I got on there talking about if Ewers would have still played, then we would have lost. I went back and looked at that game, and I'm taking that back. I disagree with myself because Will Anderson went offsides on a 3rd and 4, whatever. We were coming off the field. And I believe that would have changed, that would have just swung the momentum. We forget that when Ewers got hurt, yes, he had a big throw. Teams have had big throws against Alabama, but we forget he was running for his life and jumped in the air when Turner put the yah-yah on him. No, they wouldn't have won. But I agree with the caller 2 calls ago. I agree with the last caller, definitely. But 3 callers ago, who was talking about Bill O'Brien. He needs to come up out of that press box. So I'm not going to talk about kids like that. I'm going to say, they missed their fit. They should have been in phase. We could talk football because some of us aren't football people. But Bill O'Brien needs to come on out of that press box, man. He really do. You do get a feel for the game when you're down on the field. But listen, who am I to tell this man? He done coached college, NFL. He's doing his thing. But it was very clear that Sark was shining on Saturday. And I think all of us have to agree with that. I want to also say this, Steve, then I'll get off. I think that every year, except for 2020, every year Alabama has had there was another year. Was that 2009? What was our other undefeated year? Was that 2009? No, 2010.
Yes,
Was that 2010? 09. So we forget as fans that every year, other than those 2, Alabama has lost a game. We talking about Saturday like we lost. Last year, we had a close call against Florida. It was real sketchy against Arkansas. Of course, we had to go into overtime for Auburn, and then we go to the national championship game and put that yah-yah on Georgia. You know what I'm saying, Steve? When people act like Jimbo Fisher, by the way, that's a whole other topic. I don't take up the time with this man who should be fired, but now they done invested all that money in him. With what happened with him, Mr. I'm going to talk about Saban and I'll kick his and I'll slap him and all of that. And now y'all can't beat Appalachian State, which is a very good team, by the way, because I watched the game. It's a very good team. However, he's talking all of that. But guess what? We act like he was the first Texas A&M coach to beat Saban. Didn't Sumlin beat him too?
Kevin Sumlin did, yes.
I mean, didn't Freeze beat him twice?
Right.
Didn't Malzahn beat him twice?
Correct.
So it's not like we don't ever lose people. And in this case, the blessing is we won with enough for them to go back to the drawing board. So we'll watch the trend of this team. I just want to get on and apologize. You know what I'm saying? When I start talking about athletes, particularly because I used to be one, and that's not cool when all you doing is your best. And even if I messed up on it, like that kicker we had a couple of years ago couldn't hit a barn. You know what I'm saying? But I felt bad for the kid because I know he got to go back to school, and he's now known as the one that you know can't hit nothing. But he that shouldn't destroy his character, though. You know what I'm saying? That he wasn't a very good kicker. So I just wanted to get on and say that, man. I love your show. I've been working late, Steve. So TDA family, I gotta drop some dollars into the chat. Everyone needs please donate and keep the show rolling. Thank you, Steve, for all you do, man. Roll Tide.
Appreciate my man Tobias calling from Fresno, dropping that call there. We've got over 280 people in the chat. Over 280 of you guys having conversations in the YouTube chat line. We love you. Drop a like. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that like button. Drop a like on the show right now. Appreciate it coming from you guys. We go on this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
This is Tori from Birmingham, Alabama.
What's going on with you?
Nothing with man. I didn't watch the game. What I interpreted was I don't know. I kind of got in on TV with dude like 3 callers before. The thing what he was trying to say was Alabama. They practice so hard. Why the hell do we go to the game wanting to catch all the time? No, we practice to go forward. Run the fucking ball. Run up. It's Alabama. We is designed to break folks' will. Just to break you. I mean, we run it down your throat, and then we throw it off the play action, then everybody's open. Now you don't know how to stop us. But we run the ball. And we understand that that's all I'm just saying. We supposed to run the ball. And we practice all day just to get to the game to catch 30, 45, 50 times a game. What we catching for? We need to go forward. And these kids, they want to beat the other kids down. They don't want to sit down and catch the whole game. No, they want to sit down and go at this dude, to maul him, to move him out his way, to get him off his foot to say, okay, I quit. That's what we is designed for. This is what Nick Saban is known for doing. Not catching 30, 40, 50 times a passing game. What is this? We are designed to break your will. That is what Alabama is for. That's what people come here for, to break folks' will. When you playing football, we are trying to break your will. And Alabama, since we got Tua, I'm not going to lie, that's all we've been doing is throwing the ball a lot. But, hey, it is what it is. It's a new game. But football is still the same old concept. Run it down your throat, break your back, and make sure that you don't know what we're going to do next. But it all starts up front in the trenches where our big men want to kill everything in front of them because they want to go forward, not sit back and catch. So, I mean, that's what I saw. I want us to run the ball down each other's throat and break each other, break the other man's will. But hey, I'm just sitting back and watching. So, yeah.
Appreciate Terrell there calling in from Birmingham, leaving his passionate thoughts there on Crimson Tide football. We're going to get this call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from?
Hey, Mattress Matt from Mobile.
Matt, what's going on, brother?
I apologize too. I texted some things on the chat the other night, and I've been really upset since the game. But I'm extremely proud of the players and for overcoming the adversity and winning the game. All of the players, extremely proud of them. And but I agree, Bill O'Brien. I don't care whether he's fired or not. But you got to get somebody else in there calling the plays with a different system, because Alabama cannot. You can't give even the best players. You can't give them a bad system and expect them to perform. And Bill O'Brien has a flawed system, and so if we want to win the national championship, this is we're fans, okay? We're not professionals. We shouldn't be expected to be professionals. Not everybody that calls in is going to be a coach, okay? We're just calling it like we see it. We don't know all the inside that. We don't have the privileges to be able to get on the inside of the game. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's got to be put third or fourth string. I know he's fast, but he came from the ACC, okay? We brought somebody from a losing ACC team, and we made him the starter when he's never even been in Alabama system. We got to put Trey Sanders in there, number one, and number two is Jason McClellan, number three is Roydell Williams, okay? Second, so get Bill O'Brien out, put Jahmyr Gibbs down on the third. Then basically you take the depth chart of the receivers and you reverse it completely. You turn it upside down, because the way that the receivers are laid out right now, when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they're listed from slowest to fastest. And I don't care who you are, but but to tell me that Christian Leary can't get out there and get open and catch a pass, you're full of it. He'll be 3-4 steps ahead of everybody. So I don't care how good Christian Leary practices. If you're a coach, you got to put your pride aside, and you got to put winning as your number one goal. The number one goal is winning when you get to the game. And with this isn't T-ball anymore. You don't punish players in the game for how they did in practice. That's not what you do. You discipline players. You pull them aside and you discipline outside of them, but you don't discipline players during the game and not give them playing time. That's T-ball, immature bullcrap. So you flip the whole thing. A 4.8 40-yard dash to Corey Brooks, Trayshawn Holden. Are you kidding me? These are the slowest receivers. The guy that transferred from Georgia, Burton, he can't even outrun the lineman. Okay. He I don't care what his 40-yard dash says. He is slow. So number one receiver, Christian Leary. Number two, Isaiah Bond. Number three, Prentice. You flip that thing upside down, get Bill O'Brien out, and you bring in, I don't care if he's from high school, you bring in the most creative play caller that you can find. You bring him in now, because this is an emergency. And this is important. They are working, these kids are working their tails off, okay? And to have a flawed system in place in the offense, it's just wrong. And something does need to be done about it. You bring in the most talented offensive coordinator you can find. You bring him in there right now and start calling the plays. And then one more thing, you can't teach creativity. Bill O'Brien is not going to just wake up one morning and become creative. He is who he is, and that's who he's going to be. And to say that it's not that he's just all of a sudden going to change, it's just not going to happen. Thank you.
Appreciate Mattress Matt, my man Matt from Mobile with that call there. We take this one. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling tonight? State your name and where you calling from.
Man, what's up, man? Uncle Charles, man.
He's back, baby!
Man, what's happening, y'all?
We good, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing fine, man. I'm all right as long as I'm on top of ground and ground ain't on top of me. I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm doing real good. Let me just say this to the Alabama fans. Let me tell you something. Y'all, we cannot play like this. Let me tell you something, man. I didn't know what was going on. I said, what is this, The Exorcist? Is this stigmata? Is somebody going to turn their head around and spit green spit? No, this is crazy. But I can tell you this. They had 11 men out there from Texas. Well, you might as well add one more. Satan, because it was 125 degrees out there on that field. No, ain't no need or no air conditioners now. They ain't going to be able to come up there. Why? Because there's too many people at the game. Let me tell you something. You can't play like that, y'all. Will Anderson, let me say this to Will Anderson. Will Anderson, you one of the best players in college football. You can't play like that. It's undisciplined. Now, I would say that on the radio because I'm too scared to say it in your face. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. We can't not be foolish like this. Put the best young men out there and play. And Nick Saban, he lost his mind for a couple of minutes. But that heat says, you better stay quiet because I'll knock you out. I'm going to tell you that right now. Let me tell you something, man. Be careful of what you do. We got a lot of pastors go around and say they got faith. Well, I wish you would have told that guy that went to Amityville Hall house. And he said, I got it, man. I can get the demon out the house. And then the house said, get out. And then he started running. She said, come back. He said, you got to be out your mind. And them flies followed him right to the car. Let me tell you something, man. We got to play better than this. Because if that was Bear Bryant, see, Bear Bryant wasn't a counter president. He wasn't a conversationalist. Bear Bryant said stuff in sentences. Running one more time. Coach, we done read it about 150 times. If you don't want to be out here until 10 o'clock at night, run it one more time. And then you be out there while you out there about to fall out there, Bear Bryant up in that shed up there with a big old giant barrel of cold, ice cold. Remember this now, ice cold lemonade while you out there about to die. See, this is what Nick Saban need to go ahead and tell him. If you don't want to get the Bear Bryant treatment, you better get it in line. And I'm going to say this in closing. This heat is something serious. Because I went in the store to just get me an ice cream cone just to cool off and, pick up a few items. And there's food in the back. He don't got a sip of wine. When you know it's 102 degrees out there, I come out the door and he laid out in the parking lot where he done been Deontay Wilder by the sun. And he's still there to this day. And that's all I got to say, man. We're going to roll. We're going to keep on rolling. Roll Tide.
Gotta love Uncle Charles calling in. I mean, that right there. Got to enjoy it when Uncle Charles calls into the show. We take this one right here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
This is Antonio from Birmingham.
Antonio, what's happening, man?
Man, Steve, do we play preseason games, man? Do we play? It's week 2, man. It's week 2. Oh, my God. Everybody just overreacting. Do you realize that Sark he had the whole summer to prepare for us? He's one of the best play callers since Kissinger. So, of course, he was going to come with something. All this beginning stuff is good. It's cool. I'd rather struggle now than struggle later. We good, man. Everybody just overreacting. I feel like, everybody needs something to talk about, but come on, man. We overreacting. And I get Bill. Bill is stuck on that pro stuff. And he's trying to highlight Bryce. I get it. He's not Sark as a play caller. I think Sark and Kiffin is the best play callers we ever had. But come on, man. It's just week 2, man. Come on. Gee.
Man, hey, Antonio, Sarkisian was ready. Sarkisian was ready for this game. He prepped for this game. He prepared for this game. People sometimes forget that Sarkisian repped against this Alabama defense for about 3 to 4 years, if not more. So he had the perfect game plan scripted out. Bama's got to get stuff cleaned up, but Sarkisian had the perfect game plan scripted out. We're going to take this call. Here you're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
It's Eddie Jordan calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
What's going on, man?
Man, I've been hearing everything on Alabama fan been saying, man. But now these days, man, the tide turning, man. You can't win the clinches. You can't win the game, man. It's a defensive line, offensive line game, man. If you can't win in the clinches, you can't win the game. Look for some more tough games. This Georgia thing in the next 3-4 years. I'm telling you. We grown men in the clinches. That's all I got for you, Steve.
Appreciate Eddie calling in from Atlanta. I mean, you got to win in recruiting. You got to win in recruiting. You got to get those names. You got to get those top targets and those transcendent targets that you need. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? What's happening? State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, Steven, this is Kyron from Albuquerque. Kyran. How you doing?
Doing great, Kyron. How you feeling?
Pretty good, man. I don't know if you all already touched on this. I just got on a few minutes ago, but where is Jalen Milroe? I believe that Jalen Milroe should get at least one series every game, regardless of what the series, regardless of who we're playing. I mean, the thing about it, the guy is, 6'2", 6'3", about 215. Second and short, put him in there, instead of doing all the direct snap to whatever running back, et cetera. I mean, I believe if Jalen Milroe had been put in, at any point in the game, Texas would have had to adjust to that, knowing, the guy's just a huge guy. He's, basically a receiver with a good arm. There's that run and that pass threat. They would have had to adjust, the whole game plan. So it's like, put him in there at least one series. I'm not advocating, obviously, for replacing Bryce Young. That's ridiculous. Heisman Trophy winner, et cetera. But use the tools that you have. In certain situations, Jalen Milroe, he can lift the gym. He's big. He can throw. He can run. Use him. Second and short, third and short. Doesn't matter in most cases if the defense knows he's coming. Put him in there. Use him. And it just seems like with that coordinator, they have all these guys all the time just sitting there that they're not using. And I feel like it's going to be a repeat of last year where you have, 8 receivers on the sideline sitting there until it's time. You may need one of them. You got good, at least 2 good quarterbacks. Use them. Use the tools that you have. I just don't get it. Obviously I'm not a coach, but I just don't get why they just don't use what is there. But yeah, Jalen Milroe, I believe he should get at least one series every game, regardless of the score, regardless of who we're playing, just so he can get in there and change it up a little bit. Because defenses are going to have to adjust to that. He's a big dude, 215, 6'3", and he can throw. He's a throw-run threat. That's all I got, Steven. Thank you.
Appreciate Kyron for that call there, and people have been calling for that. People have been calling for the package with Jalen Milroe. You got to use him. He's an electric athlete. He's improved the passing in areas. You got to see what he brings. Absolutely from Kyron, you're not replacing Bryce Young, no. But you got to see what Milroe does. You got to see what he adds. You got to put him out there and let him operate and maneuver the offense a little bit in game situations on the field, getting those reps in. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? What's going on? Go ahead.
Yeah. This is Anthony again. I was just referring to the 4 running back. Every last one of them is capable of being a first round pick. Why? I'm just confused and baffled about not running the ball on goal line. Do that make sense?
I mean, people want to know why Bama's not running the ball on the goal line when you've got 4 running backs, well, 6 actually, but 4 that are highly capable. That's been a question of concern of why you don't run the ball on the goal line. Yes.
And Jalen Milroe he's a Cam Newton, if you want to say he's a Cam Newton.
He's a Cam Newton. He's a Deshaun Watson. He's a big quarterback, and you got to get him the reps. You got to put him out there. You got to work him in these situations, and that goes back to the creativity. You got to use everything that you have, especially if you are recruiting these types of players. But appreciate all you guys calling in, 205-448-1358. Lighten us up with your conversation. This is a show for you. 205-448-1358. We take this call. You're live on the show. How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steve, how's it going? This is John from Connecticut. How's it going?
What's going on, man?
I'm just gonna be taking it all in from Saturday. I think one of the biggest problems is, and it's going to be moving forward, that offensive line. I don't think they have the guys in years past, and I think the offense. I think a lot of people complain about Pete Golden, and I don't think it's really the defense I think the defense really played. And I mean, not the best, but not the worst. And I think going 3 and out 4 times in a row, and you just keep putting your defense back out there, putting your defense back there. It takes a toll on your defense for a while.
Absolutely. I mean, John, when you have when you have 6 straight 3 and outs offensively, and you have James Byrne about their punting, defense needs to get rested back up. It needs the offense to put together a strong drive, and the offense didn't do it. So absolutely. Appreciate John from Connecticut there with those thoughts. So I mean, it all goes back to you gotta have the right play calling on the field. You gotta get guys in situations where they can dominate, they can feel confident, they can play confident, and they can be successful in what you are calling on the field. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, man, this is Ralph Bryan from Birmingham, Alabama, man. What's going on?
Man, I can't complain, man, but the better question is, how you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. I watched the show with you and AC, Bo, I think that was Marvin, and I want to say Tim. I can't remember the name right quick. He was on the top right, the final one. When I was just listening to what they were saying about, pretty much what everybody else has been calling out. So I would just like to get your interpretation of like a little summary of what you kind of heard from the guys, and maybe some things that we probably not looking at that they may share, that you didn't go on the air. But I just think that everything that we are pointing out can be fixed, and I just want to let everyone know, the fans know, that we can fix these things. Things can change. It just when are the changes going to happen, and when are the people who are not performing, when they gonna get the opportunity to get in. Miro, I like him, but kind of hard to swap out Bryce for him just for some reps. But he do need him, because just in case if something happens, Lord's willing, knocking on wood, but he gonna need them reps. But if Bryce go down, he gonna get reps anyway. But I just like to hear your thoughts on the show y'all had with all the guys, former teammates and players, about the things that we can work on that we may not touch on. I sit back and listen. Thanks for the call.
Appreciate Ralph from Birmingham calling in. I think everything that Alabama needs to work on, I think we've all hit on it. I think we all have. And these things can be fixed. You can fix the offensive line. That can be fixed. That's correctable. You can fix the issues at cornerback. Those are correctable. You can fix the run game. That's correctable. You can fix where the receivers are concerned and getting separation on these routes. All of these things we've talked about can be corrected. Probably the only thing that cannot be corrected, and Mattress Matt brought this up, is the creativity of Bill O'Brien. He kind of is what he is at this point. That's the only thing where it's either you continue to deal with that, or you go out there and you get somebody else that is a younger, fresher, more innovative mind in terms of play calling offense. But everything else, aside from Bill O'Brien, yes, those things can absolutely be corrected. Well, how will they go about being corrected? This is why we got 2 weeks here with games at Bryant-Denny. This week against Louisiana Monroe, next week against Vanderbilt, to get those things fine-tuned. But we grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are you feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yo, Stephen M. This Dexter Wright. I'm from Monroe, Alabama. Enjoy your show.
Appreciate it, man. What's happening with you?
What's up? I just want to say, man, Toro, he did the same thing last year. And Nick's such a good coach, man. I would hate to see Nick let this slide again this year with the dude just sitting in the middle, letting everything go by him. He ain't attacking. I'm just used to Mosley in a I'm used to a Mosley type middle linebacker. That's the heart of our defense. Georgia showed us that it's still, with this day and age, they changed the offense so it can score a lot more points. People were down defenses, saying that defense are no good no more. Georgia showed us last year that it's still able to be successful. We need our heart of the defense back again. I think if we get toe out and we put let's say Moody in, I think the defense will look totally different with all the pieces that we got. We got the pieces. We just need to use them. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate the call right there from Dexter, and I kind of agree with that. I agree with that. You can either put Moody in the middle and have Lawson play weak side, or you can keep Moody at weak side and put Kendrick Blackshire in the middle. Just somebody that's going to thump, somebody that's going to hit, somebody that's going to be a rough rider. Put that guy in the middle. It doesn't matter if it's Blackshire. It doesn't matter if it's Moody. But whoever going to be a rough rider, and we've already seen Moody be a rough rider. He earning his. Put him in the middle and put Lawson weak side. Or if you want to keep Moody weak side, cool. Put Blackshire in the middle and roll with that and live with the mistakes early, but roll with the upside there. Appreciate everybody calling in. I got to shout out Mario Caldwell with that $10 donation. The Super Chat's throwing love in the box there. Appreciate Mario Caldwell. Dancing Steven does also. He's getting down to business. My man J.D. Long, baby, with that $19.99 and the Super Chats. Appreciate J.D. And Tobias from Fresno, my man on the West Coast, with that 50-piece, that $50 donation, showing love. A daily Super Chat goal of $75 has been met. Appreciate the support there from all of you and all of you guys calling in, letting your conversations be made known. That's why we do this, for you. Let your conversations be made known. But let me go to a quick topic here. And this was on Big Phil. Fedarian Mathis, former Alabama defensive lineman, rookie season cut short for the Washington Commanders, sustained a serious knee injury in week 1 of his NFL season. And I hate this for Big Phil. Had to have surgery on his knee. Wish him a strong recovery, a big-time bounce back for him because, I mean, he was tearing it up in training camp. The Commanders had big things in store for Big Phil, but, unfortunately, week 1 had serious knee injury. Kind of saw when they brought the card out there and after the guy had rolled up on field and in obvious pain, screaming out there, I kind of knew, this one ain't good. So, prayerfully, he had the surgery, everything went okay. So prayerfully, Big Phil is able to, fight his way back and have that, do-over in terms of a rookie year for next season. But we're going to take our final break here on the show on Touch That Down. When we get back, we tidy up loose ends by setting us up for Louisiana Monroe this weekend. We talk about it after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Marvin Constant, All-SEC linebacker and 1999 SEC champion. You are listening to In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide.
We're back into the action here, folks, from the break. Wednesday, hump day, hottest show on the streets, talking your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. And give yourselves a hand, you guys, the amazing Alabama football fan base and family. Appreciate all 34 calls in the call segments today. You guys letting your voices be made known, be made heard. All of the dialogue, all of the conversation. You guys refused to let tonight go by without getting in the call segment, and we definitely appreciate that. Also, hit that like button. Don't forget, give us that thumbs up. Hit that like button if you loving what you seeing, what you hearing, what you feeling. Hit the like button, smash that sucker now. Show that support here. Make this your show, your network platform, channel, and space to talk Crimson Tide football. But before we get to the final topic, I got to remind you of TDAwear.com. It's TDAwear.com. So for all of your swagger, sauce, drip, clothing, cultural, fashion needs here, check us out, TDAwear.com. Make us your one-stop shop to get all of your Bama gear to support your program, that being the Crimson Tide. The link in the description, so go to TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com to get you that gear, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But now, gentlemen, look at this matchup. You know, Alabama, Louisiana Monroe, one of two matchups in the back-to-back to help Alabama clean some things up and prepare for the gauntlet, which begins with Arkansas on October 1st. And, Alabama returns home after being in Texas this past week, Bryant-Denny and Tuscaloosa, to take on the Warhawks of Louisiana Monroe. And we all remember 2007, at least some of us do, most of us do. It's a memory that I am not fond of. Coach Saban is still holding a grudge that Monroe beat Alabama 21-14. That was the game where John Parker Wilson had 2 interceptions. That was the game where UL Monroe had 2 rushing touchdowns. The quarterback played pretty well, and there was a defensive back in question that victimized JPW on both of those picks, and lost 21-14. So Saban still remembers that. But this time around here, you've got Terry Boughton, Coach Terry Boughton, who is a member of the illustrious Boughton family. And so Terry Boughton had a press conference on Tuesday. He's in his second year at La Monroe. And he basically said, look, this matchup against Alabama, I'm excited about going down for Tuscaloosa. I'm excited about facing Nick Saban. A lot of people say they're excited to face Nick Saban. A lot of people say they're excited to face Alabama. So that's part one of, people not being afraid of Alabama anymore. You got coaches, Terry Boughton, I'm excited about the challenge of facing the Crimson Tide. Now, for Coach Boughton, he did coach at 3 programs in the state prior to going to La Monroe. He coached at North Alabama, he coached at Auburn, and he coached at Samford. So he is familiar with this state. But the 66-year-old talked about on Tuesday, hey, after watching what happened last week, anything is possible. I mean, people didn't have Appalachian State favored to beat Texas A&M. People didn't have Marshall favored to beat Notre Dame. People didn't have Georgia Southern favored to beat Nebraska, but all those things happened. So if we go out there and we play our best football and the upset of Alabama happens, we'll be all right. So you already got Monroe, coming up in here, fully confident, fully excited, fully wanting to play Alabama. Like I mentioned, 2007, Saban's first year, when he was young Saban, Brown hair. Alabama failed to lie Monroe in that game, 21-14. But it's been 15, 16 years since that matchup. So you look at this. The question is, how does Alabama use this game to get better, right? Ugly, narrow win over Texas where a whole bunch of stuff went wrong, but you found a way to win the game. That's the point that a lot of you make tonight. It was ugly, yes. Narrow, you better believe it. But Alabama, mental toughness, right, found a way to win. So how do you take this matchup against the Warhawks and use this to get better? Well, number one for me, you start with this offensive line. You get the 5 guys that you can trust out there. And whether it's you putting Javion Cohen at left tackle and Tyler Booker at left guard and rolling with that, whether it's keeping Steen at left tackle, keeping Cohen at left guard, and keep the right side of Emil Ekiyor and J.C. Latham and roll with that with Darian Dalcourt at center. Whoever the 5 guys whoever the 5 guys are that you absolutely trust, you get those 5 guys on the field, you build that continuity with them, and you roll with that. And you open up the run game, and you get that pass protection set with that. And you rotate your running backs with that. The wide receivers, you got to get your best guys, speed guys, possession guys, get your best guys on the field, and you work those routes, and you call those sets, and you call those formations to get those guys in the flow. Call the sets, call the formations, call the plays to get those guys in the flow. Defensively, starting this thing off with the defensive line, getting more work in there with Jaheim Otis, getting more work in there with Tim Smith, getting more work in there with Jamil Burroughs. Get those guys more work in there. At the linebacker position, rotate Kendrick Blackshaw in there more. Get in more of Deontay Lawson. Maybe we can see more Giad Campbell. Get him in there. I mean, he threw that tackle dummy down like a rag doll in fall camp. Get Giad Campbell in there. Corner situation, let's see Terrion Arnold. Let's see some Eli Ricks. Let's see what these guys got. See what these guys got, man. And you got 2 weeks here to get whatever this is that's plaguing the team. You got 2 weeks to get that out the way before you travel to pig country. Start this gauntlet off with Arkansas. So this week against La Monroe, all the areas that we all know to be cleaned up. Get this stuff cleaned up. Offensive line, middle linebackers, cornerbacks, wide receivers, run game, more rotation on this defensive line. We all know the areas. Now, let's use these 2 weeks, starting with this one, clean this stuff up here. But, as always, Bama Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage, material, entertainment on your program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. Now, you download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store. You got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back Friday, continuing the conversation. That's Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those hit to your door. That link in the description. If you're trying to get the fresh edition, print edition of TDA, the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com, click join. Become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description as well. You're trying to get your hands on the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description too. Guys, shout you guys out, the incredible Alabama football fan base. Love the calls, love the energy, love the enthusiasm, love the conversation tonight. Another donation tonight, making this your show, your network, platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. Got to appreciate my man John Ivory in the production studio, handling that business behind the scenes there. As always, people, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children know what to do. The right thing, fun thing, good thing, smart thing, legitimate thing, to not be bored. Hey, get that schoolwork done also. School week here. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. You've been listening to In My Own Words.